Hi, Tiffany. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, maybe you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get
Sorry,
off
I
for
was
a
on
minute.
mute. Yes, I can hear you,
It's
but
okay. That's. I have a million questions to ask, but I better go and come right back. Okay. I don't want to start
okay.
bombarding you with questions. Okay. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Hey, Tiffany.
Hey, how are you?
I do have a quick question I want to ask you about. As far as collaborating with other teachers, when we're doing this, is it called synchronous? Is
Yes.
that right? Synchronous teaching. I
Yes.
was thinking last time when we went virtual after coming back from spring break, I teamed up with the PE and the music teacher, and it worked out quite well. For us to be in there at the same time.
Hmm.
And I'm just wondering if you could throw it out there and maybe ask how, you know what I'm saying? Because even though they were in there with me, they
Hmm.
couldn't be in there when I'm teaching art. Like, so when we did do a synchronous meet, we kind of kept
Hmm.
it open and just kind of talked about different things. It just gave them a chance to communicate with us and see us.
Right.
So we created something that we could all do. But I'm like, you know, we need to have another artist in there with us to ask questions, especially if we're showing them how to do a drawing
Hmm.
and somebody's having trouble or something like that, somebody to be in the chat. So I was wondering if y'all thought about that, or how do you ask another teacher if they want to join and what are their hours? It's just kind of
Hmm.
dicey.
Yeah, I think the district as a whole wants you to do asynchronous lessons. So the lessons that we've posted as examples, or
Hmm.
and really you're allowed to use them as they are. Um,
Oh yeah, I saw
they
those.
Yeah, they're kind of like, this is the lesson. And so I think then you're like teacher office hour time, that's when the kids would come back and ask questions. So you're not having to teach and answer the questions at the same time. They kind of go do that first, and then they come back to you and you can reteach if they have questions. But I mean, a lot of districts have been doing this for years in terms of a flipped classroom. I know my daughter,
Okay.
who was in Arlington at the time, all of her math lessons were videos of the math teacher, given, and she would have to take notes. And then in class, then they would actually do like the math problems, and she could help them individually because they already got the notes ahead of time. So it's kind of that same concept. Um,
Okay. Because I think we got like they gave us our teaching schedule, and I'm like,
mhm.
this is crazy. 45 minutes. What am I gonna do for 45 minutes on a virtual thing? But anyway, what I'm understanding for you, what you're saying is that go ahead and put the lesson into the Google Classroom,
Right.
record yourself, tell them everything they need to do, and then
Mhm.
redirect them back into a set time that they
Right.
can go into the Google Classroom and ask questions.
Correct.
That's what I hear you saying. Okay.
Yes. Now each campus is probably going to be a little bit different, just
Mhm.
because principals, get some autonomy in this and get to choose. But the message that the teaching and learning department is spreading out there is, this is supposed to be asynchronous, and then
Okay.
teachers are there for questions and help. But the actual lesson should not be during that time where you're on Google Meets together, because of accessibility issues. So, like, for example,
Okay.
in our house, sometimes the internet can't handle 6 kids on at once. And so they can't all be on a Zoom meeting or Google Meet, or I think they're actually WebEx
Mhm.
at the same
Mhm.
time. So you want that lesson material all in once, all together, so that
Okay.
they're just jumping on for help, is my
Okay.
understanding.
Well, that's a great understanding. And my administrator, she is like a God sent human being. So I
That's
think that
great.
all I have to do is just let her know what our department is expectations are, and I think she'll be okay with that.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
All right. Let me see. So I think we're missing a couple people. So we're at 11 participants. All right, was everyone able to access the art handbook? Okay, great.
Tiffany? I wasn't.
Oh, you weren't? Oh
No.
man. Okay. We'll get that figured out today.
Tiffany, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, got it working. While I was accessing the handbook, a little thing popped up saying that it was being moved to the trash and that it wouldn't be available for a bit.
Yeah, I had an extra art handbook file and then or folder, and so I tried to delete one of them and then had to press undo. So it should be okay now, but
Okay, cool.
that was me messing with it, and yeah. So as I was creating that last night, it somehow I ended up with 2. So
Okay.
I think we're good now. But so sorry about that. All right. We are going to go ahead and get started. See if I can. All right. Okay, so you all got to the handbook through that shared drive. And Alex, are you able to get to see that shared drive or not at all? No? Okay. And do you have a teacher email account yet or not yet? No? Okay. So I'll work on getting you in there today. All right. And then it's under, and I don't know why they're not in alphabetical order or they're ascending right now. But so art handbook. And all right. So if you're trying to make a copy for yourself, you want, and it ends up in this folder, go ahead and move it. You can press move to, and then you'll be able to press this back button and it'll take you to your drive and you can choose a place in your drive to move it to. All right, I'm gonna make this. All right. So, and this year we asked for teacher art to add to our art handbook. And so it's all volunteer basis. So people who added art to that folder, that's how we were able to get this art in there. And notice that some of them, I don't have all the titles yet, but we're still working on that. And you can print this out if you would like. We will be updating it. So I would hold off for a little while to print it out. But some people like that paper copy and that's fine. It's kind of why we have it like this. It's kind of from years past when it was an actual printed bound book. In terms of communication, the biggest form of communication that I do is once a week I send out our newsletter called Art Beat Weekly, and I try to include everything you need to know. When I was an art teacher in the district, we would just get just tons and tons of email. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a great email reader. I tend to skim sometimes. And so if I've misunderstood your email, it's probably because I have a million and I'm trying to get through them all. So I apologize ahead of time. But I wanted to put it all in one spot so that when I actually do email you, you know it's because it's something that's super time sensitive or important. And so I try not to email you very often. So the communication is going to come from that once a week thing. And so then when outside, like museums or contests, that sort of thing, send me something to send out to you. I do hold off until it's time for the art beat to come out again, or else you would just be getting stuff all the time. All right, so in our office, it is me. I'm the director of visual arts. And like I said, I hit 1 year in June. And Teresa Smith, you will be meeting her on our next meeting for this afternoon. and she's one of our administrative associates for the fine arts department, but specifically she works in the visual arts department. And so she'll help you with ordering, that sort of thing. And so she's our office connect, so she's right here to help me. And so anything orders, eventually field trips, but not this year, and things like letter jackets for high school, or let's see, buses, anything with our TEA events, so like VASE, junior VASE teams, that kind of goes through her. Wendy McCoy, you met her this morning. She is our art specialist. She goes into your classrooms and helps you and is there as a support, instructional coach. Ashley King, she is our art assistant in the office. She is mostly in charge of our shows, and she'll curate. And so she, I kind of lost her during the Corona thing, but she just got, they just gave me approval to have her come back today. So I'm super excited to have her back. And she's a great resource. She used to be an art teacher, but switched to this part-time position so that she can spend more time with her daughter. All right, so the table of contents, I did show you that you can, click and it'll take you to a different part in the document. So, it kind of is an overview of then everything that's in there. And if you're new to Google Docs, this is something that can be created in the document. It'll kind of create it for you. You might have to go in and sometimes it'll bold things or change font size, and I haven't really figured out all of that. But it's, I can update something in it and then come up to this button here and it'll update the table of contents for me. So very cool feature if you're creating anything for your students. All right, calendar. So this is our updated Fort Worth ISD calendar. You can also find this on their website. And I think I put a printable version in our drive, but just kind of a quick view of what our year is going to look like. And again, we are going, I think it's 24th of June, or no, sorry. Teacher's last day will be the 21st of June. So that is a Monday. So a little bit different year than usual. All right, I did kind of outline everything on our calendar and created links within. So everything that is red is a due date, and purple I tried to do events, things that are happening, but most of those events are virtual this year. And then also include some of the school stuff, just for your information. And so calendars in there. And we will update that as, new things arise. All right, Remind. Remind is, you can either have it as an app or it can just be sent to you as a text message. I like to, because I have children and there tends to be a lot of reminds, I like to use the app so it's all in one place for me. But that's how you would add it. So if you're a high school teacher, you're gonna just either in the Remind app or you text, and that's who you're sending it to. And then you do this at, whatever the letters are, as your message. And, I use that quite a bit during, coronavirus. And sometimes there was a while where they weren't letting us send emails. And so that was a lot of the communication. I am limited to 200 characters. And so I know one time a teacher responded you're allowed to use punctuation. I'm yeah, sometimes don't have enough characters too. So sorry about that. But it's usually sometimes a quick reminder that this is due, or just another way to send you a quick thing. You can respond to me on that. It responds back to a private message. So your question will not be to everyone. It'll just go to me. So that's been helpful. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, please do that. And I try not to send a ton of messages on that. Artbeat Weekly, again, that's where you're going to get most of your information. And I use Sway, which is one of our Microsoft applications that is connected with our work email. It's in that waffle. If from your email, so from your email, you can get to Sway and create your own if you want. I call it the waffle. All right. Okay, we are going to do monthly Zoom meetings, and I may switch this to our Microsoft application just because of how many people we're allowed to have in there. But this will kind of be, I'm going to try to keep those as brief as possible, but we're going to do those the first Thursday of the month. And, but again, just that face-to-face, I think sometimes help to re-explain, and then also be available for questions if you have them. So first Thursday of the month, those will be the times for elementary, high school, and middle school, because I know you get out at different times. I don't want you to have to wait around. And the last thing is our share drive. And that is where, I put resources for you when I find things from the district. Our curriculum's on there. It's how you document your flex if you're doing it other places. But, and we're going to talk about that more this afternoon. All right, curriculum. So I had quite a few people during the shutdown write curriculum, because the curriculum that we have that's uploaded on our the Fort Worth ISD online curriculum is pretty outdated. I think maybe like 2013 or so. And so we're going to be in the process, once we kind of get going for the year, of updating that in that location. But we already have it on the shared drive for you to look at and use. And you can, there's a lot in there. So we had some great writers working on that. And we will kind of, update it and add resources as we go throughout the year. But if you have any questions on any of these sections, please speak up. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep going through. Flex, those 5 days are, used to be part of just professional development days that they had worked into the school year, but they switched to letting you choose how you want to, which training you want, which I've really liked. I like this a lot more than having them the set days throughout the school year, because you get to, choose your focus. But you do need 30 hours. I believe it's by March 31st is, the deadline we're asking to have it turned in by. And 18 of those hours needs to be through our department. And so I do have a folder on the shared drive for Flex, and it has classes that are available. Most of them are asynchronous, either book studies or assignments that teachers have created in Google Classroom for you to work on, complete at your own pace so that you can get those hours. Art of Ed will also count, but it is out of district. And so, our plan is that we're going to take some of those and kind of use them like we did today and or yesterday, and have like a short assignment to go with them so we can count them as in district. But, that's kind of on our to-do list of things to add. They will dock your pay though in June if you do not have those 30 hours done. So please be proactive. I think what you're doing this week will be enough for you guys to have your 30 hours. But give them about a month. Once you want to keep checking Strive to see your updates. And that's one thing that I can show you probably this afternoon as well. All right, so if you're using Art of Ed, these are instructions for like where to put that document on that shared drive. And then I also have a Google sheet for you to add your name and link that documentation. Right now, they haven't given me back my access to add classes on Strive, so none of that will be counted yet until I get that back. We lost quite a few things in our malware attack. For those of you who weren't aware, right before spring break, we had a malware attack that just shut our system down. And so we're still kind of coming back from that in some areas. But as a whole, they've done a great job of getting us back online with a lot of it is new software and new sites because they just kind of lost everything else. All right, Art of Ed. Glad that most of you were already able to experience that. Was super excited to be able to get this for our art teachers this year. I think it's a fabulous resource. It is very, very expensive. The only reason why we have it this year is because we didn't take kids to state last year. And so the data that we're getting from there, and they can print out fabulous data or send me great data where it's like how many videos each teacher's watching and what classes are like the most watched. And so they're producing great things for me that way. And I'm hoping to be able to use that to advocate for us to get it again. So please take advantage of it. It might be a 1-year only thing. I hope that I'll be able to get it again. I'm not going to get it again for people who don't use it. And so I know that your first year, it's a lot. The last thing you need is like another meeting. But if you can take some time to just kind of, educate yourself through that, they just have so many resources that I really feel like it's invaluable and worth the money. But again, I know you're very busy and it's a lot this first year. Supply orders. They are going to talk a lot more about this this afternoon with the administrative associates. Deadlines. Some of them have like 2 deadlines in the other parts of the department. We only have 1. And the biggest reason is there's, I think, 183 art teachers, and we're the largest department in fine arts. And so we don't have the manpower to put in that many orders twice. And so where some of them are saying you can spend half of it by this time and then half by this time, we just ask for it one time. And so elementary, you're going to be in November. That beginning of November is the deadline. Mid-November for middle school, and then high school will be beginning of December. And we're going to work on those budgets as soon as possible, and they'll have a place for you to get them. But they'll talk more about that. And there's now a way for you to go online and track your, like, in one place, and Teresa will be updating that so you can see if it's processed, if it already has a PO. The ordering process is very, very tedious. And so it takes a long time. It's not just type it into Amazon and you're good to go. And so there's usually at least about a 2-week turnaround from once you put that order in to when we're even able to get it through our system. So just be aware of that. You do need to let us know you have your stuff. So once you do get your supplies in, please go in and mark that you have it so that they can clear out that. And you'll also be able to track your budgets, and Teresa's managing that, and we'll have those in as soon as we can get those processed. Now, we do have a contract with Davis eBooks. And so in the past, Ashley has been the one who gets you a login information so you can add that. And the students are supposed to have access to. And they're working on adding those to ClassLink this year, which I think will be a lot more helpful so that they can have access to them. Some people really like to use a textbook. Others don't. It's just kind of a personal preference. But that is a resource that's available. All right, we are gonna ask you all to join TAEA. We will pay for your membership, but we need your forms by September 18th, okay? So I have a link for where you can get your membership form. I have a folder that you can put it in there so you can scan it, take a picture of it, so that Teresa is able to get those updated. If you already are a member and say your membership ends in January, still fill that out. They will, TAEA will automatically extend that time from whenever your renewal is. But we need the forms ahead of time. Okay. We are developing a Fort Worth chapter of TAEA. And so we are blessed to have one of the, kind of someone who was kind of the founder of like a lot of this TAEA stuff. And so she is gracious enough to kind of help us get going again and making TAEA a little bit more of our focus. And so Elizabeth Willett has been teaching for a lot of years. And so she's working on that. And with that, we get extra representation if we have our own chapter. One of the things that we are striving for is we'd like to become a district of innovation. TAEA has outlined what we need to do that. And so I've also put this in here, kind of so that you guys know what our goal is, where we're trying to head, and, kind of what their requirements are. We'll be adding the dates as we go in terms of like deadlines on that sort of thing. But anytime it's a deadline for you, we will add it to that calendar so that you'll see it on there. So most of these are more like, just so you know, this is coming, but like the Tassa and Taz, or yeah, that first show, it's only 6 entries for the whole district. So that's not something we're going to ask everyone to do. We'll just, ask, if you want to, you can participate. But we have all their things outlined. Youth Art Month, that is in March, and these are some ways for you to get extra recognition for your students. They can design one of the flags, and there's also exhibit entries. And so it's another way for high school, especially, to be able to get your students, kind of to state. And so there's 2 ways. It's VASE, and then this is the other way. Big Art Day, that's in March, and they choose one day that we're supposed to do some type of event, and you register your events, and it can be something as simple as chalk art and take a picture, or art clubs, doing something with the rest of the student body. But we encourage you to participate in that, and as a district as a whole. I will be adding some information from our local museums about their outreach programs. It's going to look a little bit differently this year, but they're going to add some stuff for us. All right, so art show and contest submission requirements. In the past, we had a lot of requirements in terms of like the label and how it was matted. But this year, since everything's going to be digital, it's just going to be a lot different. And so we'll be adding some links on tutorials on how to do that. But in terms of like, you don't need mat board this year, you don't need a label, you can just have pictures of the art. And I think the only thing that we need to turn in as an actual art piece is Safe City, but we're still kind of waiting to find out from them. All right, your required art show contests. All right, so for elementary school, we're asking you to participate in the district art show and teams, which is the TAEA contest. Now, if you've never done it before, we recommend you start with just a few entries, and these are going to be submitted digitally. And so they're not doing any in person. And so, if it's new and it's a lot your first year, just start with 1, and that's okay. Middle school, you have 3 required. It's going to be our district show, Safe City, and this one, they've been doing this for a very long time with Fort Worth ISD, and they actually give the students cash prizes. And so it's one that, and the grand prize is a trip to Disney World. I'm not sure how they're working that right now, but it's one that, the kids, some of them are excited about it, but overall the prize money, they're mostly excited about. And it's 3 kids in each school get that prize money. So that's, kind of why we keep doing that. Junior Base is also going to be something we asked you to participate in, especially since it's digital. Again, if you've never done Junior Base, just start with 1 or 2, that's fine, and build up from there. High school, district show, Safe City, and these 3 pieces are for your whole school, not each teacher. So if you're in a middle school with like 3 teachers, you're going to choose your top 3 from the school, not each teacher. High school, the same thing. It's the top 3 from the school. And then VASE, 1 to 35 art pieces. And we're only going to fund 1 per student. And also with those district shows, please keep it to 30 pieces in there because of our ribbon situation. We want to make sure we have enough ribbons to give to the kids. Even though I'm sure you could display a lot more. All right, so I have information about those shows. Did anyone have specific questions about our district shows? I have deadlines in there. And it's a little bit later than we've done in the past, just because the school year being later and giving you a chance to have your students create more art. We do have categories at the middle and high school level, and those are outlined. Some frequent questions. All right, Imagine No Violence. And that's something I should update in the required show list. It used to be called Safe City. This is that one where they get those cash prizes. And so I think there's like 3 pages of information here about that. And then there's an online portion that you have to submit the artwork on, and then you'll want to do that release. And sometimes this is the hardest part, is getting that parent release. So do that ahead of time. It's sometimes easier to just have them all fill out release forms at, kind of the beginning of the year, than to try to track them down mid-year when you want to turn in their piece and the deadline's coming up. If you can put that in that beginning of year paperwork, those releases, it's sometimes helpful. All right, and then we've outlined information for each of the TAEA contests. So that's all in there, and there's also links. Those dates, we're not quite sure on those deadlines yet, but it's usually about that time, so we'll update that. Okay, except you're not gonna have matted art pieces, so. So no mats are required this year. Then, all right. Something that we do additionally is we've put up art in the lobby of the board, like where they have the Fort Worth ISD board meetings. And so that as people come in, they get to see this art, but they're not doing our board meetings live. And so we're gonna be doing these as well digitally. And they correspond with like the months in terms of like Hispanic Heritage is October, Native American is November, February is African American, April Women's History, and then May is Asian Pacific and Middle Eastern Heritage. And so if you have students who want to participate in this, there's no requirement, there's not a limit either on how many you can do. Some people like to do an assignment, but at the high school level, entering these contests earn them points towards getting their letter jackets. And so your high school kids will want to do those. Okay, the very special digital art show. This is for students who receive special education services. And so you'll see on Focus, we call them their endorsements, but you can see like all their little symbols up there. If they have like IEP or 504, those students qualify. Now, it's very, very important that you let the parents know that this is a show for students with disabilities. And so you don't want parents to be surprised that their child shows up on there, because some of them are more sensitive than others about it. And some parents are super excited to have them participate, but talk to the student, talk to the parents before you add them. But they do need to know ahead of time. All right, stock show, that's been part of Fort Worth for a long, long time. If you would like to enter this, it's gonna be on your own. We're not gonna be submitting them as a district. It'll be through the stock show. And I'm not sure what they're doing in terms of that this year. If they're going digital or what their plans are. All right, I guess it's just Ronnie, your seniors are, it's an optional show that they can be part of this senior portfolio, but there is scholarship money attached to it. And they'll be, again, submitting these digitally, and then there'll be prizes. And hopefully when we're back to in-person, they actually do that show in the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. And so it's pretty cool. And then just tips. And then as we find out about additional art shows, we'll add them to this list and see what happens in terms of this year. All right, this is one of the forms. It's a general art release form. I would recommend having your students get that filled out at the beginning of the year so that you just have them as a record, offer extra credit for it. Sometimes I would put it in the grade book as a grade and then take it off later and count it as extra credit instead of an actual point. Just something so that it gives them some motivation to turn it in. And we have it in English and Spanish. And hopefully, and I don't read Spanish, so hopefully those of you who do, it's good. You will want your students to do some type of safety contract once they're back in the classroom, just so that they're safe with their art. You can use this exactly as it is, or you can adjust it to your needs. And but we do have this one in Spanish as well. All right, you do need to post these 2 forms in your classroom somewhere, letting them know that we may have some items in our room that are hazardous. So print those out on some type of red paper or something and post those in your room. These are our safety expectations, and we will ask you to acknowledge that you did look at those and read them. All right, letter jackets. Kind of how that works in high school is they can earn points by participating in these shows. And once they do that, once they have enough points that, you know, you're going to be able to submit that. And those get ordered in the summer for that next year. All right, I outlined how to request a substitute. Please log into your that system before you actually need a substitute. I'm not sure how, I don't think you'll need a lot of them, you know, at this point when we're at home, but I don't want you to be very, very ill and not be able to get in there. So you want to try out the system before you need it. And I believe you need your your teacher ID or your employee ID number on there. Okay, I'm hoping that it's gonna be a face-to-face, but if not, it'll be on Zoom. It's gonna be an end of the year meeting, divided by secondary and elementary, hoping to be able to do celebrations and just kind of a debrief of the year. So put that on your calendar now, that this is when we're gonna do it, so that you save that date. That is, ooh, that might not be the right date. I might have to come back and check that. I'll look on the calendar. I think I moved that to June. Sorry. I kind of had it done and then they changed everything, so I had to change things again. All right, teacher directory. Check to make sure that you're in there correctly, but we have the teachers divided by level. So you can see who's teaching elementary, middle school, high school. Let us know if there's a spelling error or something like that. If we missed anyone. All right, the pyramid. So these are the schools that your students will feed into. So elementary, you'll see which middle schools, you know, are part of your pyramid. Last year we were able to do some pyramid meetings, and hopefully your pyramid leads will be able to schedule those digitally. It helps with, well, first it helps you to get to know the people in your pyramid and other art teachers so that you have that support system. And then also to help vertically align, like what are you teaching? What do you want them to know? That sort of thing. And so we have those pyramids put in there. But I think we might need to adjust some of our pyramid leaders throughout. All right, and then lastly, and then those are those forms that, okay, this form is ready to go. So if you've read the handbook, you can click on that yes you have, and filling that out is you know, kind of the same as a signature. And Ashley's actually working on this today. It's going to ask us some demographic. Some of the information is for me to use to help get us additional resources, and you know, it is confidential, so it's not going to go out to anyone else besides me, Teresa, and Ashley and Wendy will have access to that. All right, so questions.
Okay, my name is misspelled in the pyramid section of it. Yeah, it says Lauren. It's just Laura.
Okay. right. Any overarching concerns?
My principal, she sent out like hours we're supposed to do for flex. Do we have to do those on top of what we're doing already, or?
Are you referring to like the digital stuff? Or
Yeah, it was mostly digital stuff. It was like this list. It was 12 hours worth.
I believe that counts as part of your 30. Now, they also said that if you're proficient in any of those areas, like say you've already had a lot of experience with Google Classroom, that you don't necessarily have to take those. So Flex is always optional as to what you choose, but I don't want to say something that's against what your principal said. If your principal is like, yes, everyone must do these 12 hours, then I would go ahead and do those 12 hours, but it should count towards those 30 hours of Flex.
Okay, I just wanted to.
All right. And any other questions?
I do, Miss Fromm.
Okay, go ahead, Marcia.
Davis eBooks, it's giving you the password FWISD, and I don't think that works.
Okay.
Or FWISD.
Right. We have not added our new teachers yet
Okay.
to that. And so hold off on that one. We have to contact them and let them know the changes to our staff and that sort of thing. So give us, a little bit for that. But I don't think there's anything in the first couple lessons that would require you to use the books. Okay.
On the art handbook acknowledged form, when it asks for email address, are you wanting the for the ISD email address?
Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. All right, for those of you who did not get to show us your 10-minute sketch of why you want to be a teacher, I'm going to give you some time, and Austin will let you go again since I missed you that first time. Sorry about that again. We'll give some time this afternoon. Basically what we're going to do is the first portion should take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half for the administrative associates to go over the kind of how-tos of ordering and that sort of thing. And then in that, we're not going to meet again until 2:30. You'll join up, and I have that Zoom meeting on the agenda in the New Teacher Academy folder. So it'll be a second Zoom, or actually it might end up being a third, because I think Teresa's gonna have a breakout session that is for you to answer questions or ask questions. So you're gonna have some downtime in between. During that downtime, what I'd like you to do is send me a brief bio that I can share in our newsletter at some point. I probably won't put them all at once, and a picture of yourself to kind of introduce you to the teachers. So it's going to be like your homework assignment during that hour break is to send me a photo and then a paragraph or, a few things to kind of introduce yourself to the teachers. And then I'll be on with the administrative associates, but I'll also be one-on-one with you then at 2:30 again, I believe. I think maybe theater's getting on too, but we'll break off from them. All right, any other questions?
Is there anything specific in that bio that you want?
Just what you would want other teachers to know about you. So if you want to talk about your background or what you're excited about, or include which school you're going to be at. But other than that, it's kind of up to you what you want them to know. Okay. And then a photo you like and want shared. All right. Well, we're going to end, I guess, a couple minutes early, but enjoy your lunch break, and I will see you at our next meeting. Thank you. What time is it? 12:30. Okay.
I'm just going to the conference room.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, Angela, are you talking to me? Because you're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
My internet glitched out a little bit and I lost you guys. You wanted us to draw a picture and what else?
Oh, it's on the, if you go to,
Oh, it's on the schedule.
it was on the
yesterday?
schedule for Monday.
Okay.
So if you go, yeah, and I was able to put that, oh, I saw that. Sorry, I opened a screen. Okay, I was able to put the recording from yesterday on there.
Oh, good. Okay.
So it's
Thank you.
linked, it's also on that agenda. So go to that agenda and you can see, but yeah, like 10-minute sketch, like nothing, you can see other people's on there. It's not super fancy, so.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
all right, thank you. Okay, bye.